Welcome back to Mr. Orr's Flipped Classroom for Grammar, looking at punctuation. One unique characteristic to this particular chapter is that most lessons correspond to all three grades because the content really doesn't change that much. There are some exceptions, so please make note when you click on these videos and look at the title slide to see if that pertains to the chapter and grade that you're working on yourself. Let's continue. First, looking at different kinds of periods and end marks. Generally speaking, we never want to combine two end marks after the same word. However, you can have a period at the end of an abbreviation that may be used in particular before a comma. So a comma is not considered an end mark. That's considered acceptable. Again, an abbreviation with a period at the end of it followed by a comma. Otherwise, you don't use two question marks or an exclamation mark and a question mark together. Specifically, looking at periods, use them at the end of or after all declarative or statement sentences, most imperative or command sentences unless they're being done with raised voice, most indirect questions, things like someone asked that or asked if, for initials and abbreviations, and numbers or letters in an outline or list. Question marks are used at the end of or after all interrogative or question sentences. Questioning or confused interjections, what? Huh? Exclamation points are at the end of or after all exclamatory sentences, interjections that use strong emotion, and again, some imperative sentences that use strong emotion, but it goes back to that particular example. First example, can you please pick up the paper? In this sentence, we're looking at the fact that there's a period at the end of it. The question, is that correct? Well, our steps haven't changed much. We still want to make sure we find the verb, which is please, or is it? Is please necessary? You take out the word please, does the sentence still work? Can you pick up the paper? Yes, it does still work. So please isn't going to be a verb because you can't take out the part of the verb and the sentence still makes sense. So we're looking at pick is the main verb. We go back here to can pick. That's the verb phrase. Who can pick? You, a simple subject. Again, we talked about this earlier, but when you have helping verb, simple subject, main verb, that indicates we're looking at a question. Therefore, it should be a question mark there. Please, in case you're wondering, technically that's an interjection. It's not even really an adverb. It's just an interjection thrown in there. Kind of like, well, yes, maybe, okay. Where are those pencils? Exclamation point at the end. Question is, what kind of sentence do we have here? We have interrogative pronoun, that's a W, in a question sentence potentially, and we have linking verb, and we have some type of noun here. In this case, looks like it's a simple subject because we have those pencils are where. Since we're not sure what where is, looks like that should be a question mark here. Is it possible to make an exclamation point? It is, but not necessarily so. These are the greatest flamers in the world. We have a here is, there are kind of sentence, but in a sense, but not really. If you look at it, we might think it's a there are kind of sentence, except it's these. These is a demonstrative pronoun, and that's fine to be a simple subject. Linking verb, then we have the rest of the predicate. Yes, can you say that sentence with a question in your voice? You can, but most readers would look at that sentence and assume that it should be a period. We have a pronoun simple subject, linking verb, everything else is perfectly in order. Probably should be a period. Huh, she asked you to take out the garbage. So this one, we look at in two problems. We have two different end marks. We don't use periods after interjections. We use either commas, question marks, or exclamation points. So if you wanted to revise this one, you'd have to change the period to something else. If you moved it to a comma, you have to put lowercase s on she, because the sentence continues from before. She asked you to take out the garbage. The word asked isn't a sentence, but it's not a quotation. It's someone directly asking something. We're talking about the fact that someone asked you something. So that should be a period at the end. This particular lesson may not seem like there's much to really worry about. In some cases, the biggest challenge for you is going to be figuring out certain pronouns, proper nouns, or abbreviations that you're used to but may not necessarily be punctuated in the same way as you're accustomed to. You can do this, but just take your time. still check to see whether or not the sentence is formulated correctly before you decide whether or not the end mark sounds correct. Good hunting.